Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Untitled Reviews. Now, much like the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller video we did, today's video is going to be a slightly different style of content. And it's really going to be an answer to that age-old question, should I build or buy a mechanical keyboard? And the one that's sitting on your screen at the moment is actually my personal mechanical keyboard, the one I use upstairs in my office that gets toiled at for 8 hours a day while I'm working. It's a Keychron Q1. And this is fundamentally a custom mechanical keyboard. It's actually the first ever custom mechanical board that I've ever taken a look at. And so fundamentally, I was asking this question a few months ago before I decided to pull the trigger and get one of these. Should you buy or build a mechanical keyboard? Well, here's the untitled verdict. Now, obviously, the first real parameter to consider within this debate is cost. Now, basically, a pre-built keyboard, or as it were, or most general mechanical keyboards you can go out and buy off the shelf, are going to run you between probably $50 and $250 depending on the functionality. The one that's currently on your screen at the moment, the Logitech MX Mechanical, for example, will roughly run you about £170 or euros dependent upon your region. And really, generally speaking, building a keyboard can be more expensive dependent upon the one you pick. The Keychron Q1, for instance, that you're now seeing, will run you in the configuration I've got at about $250 to $300 or euros. But that's really dependent upon the keycap set and switches you get, which I'll come on to in a moment. If you're looking for a convenient off-the-shelf means that's also going to be more affordable, then buying one might be better, while if you've got the time and effort, then building one may be the way to go. But of course, the general reason for actually building a mechanical keyboard over buying one indeed is the fact that the choice that you've got. Fundamentally, the mechanical keyboard you buy off the shelf, you're limited by the switches that the manufacturer decided to put in it in the first place. Whereas if you decide to build one like this Keychron Q1, you can have basically any switch you so wish, as long as the PCB will support it. This Keychron Q1, for instance, is actually a hot swappable keyboard, meaning that there's no soldering required. So you can buy any 3 or 5 pin Cherry MX style of switch, be it from Cherry themselves, Gateron, or any of the other ones from the likes of Zilios or the Holy Pandas or anything in between. The one here features Cherry MX Clears, which probably aren't the most orthodox choice for a keyboard these days, but MX Clears, for those uninitiated as it were, are a heavier form of Cherry MX Browns. They offer you the same tactile bump, but with a slightly heavier force, and are a really excellent choice for typists. And having had this on my desk for a couple of months at this rate, it feels absolutely brilliant. It's probably comparable in terms of being in my personal ranking as being up there with the Unicomp new Model M, which sat on my desk before I switched to the Keychron Q1. And also, when it comes to versatility and choice, you also have the choice of keycaps and whichever ones you want to pick. Of course, you can obviously swap the ones out that are on your pre-built keyboard, as it were, but they may not look as nice, given you have the choice of the entire building process when you decide to go for a custom one. The ones here are kind of more Apple Mac style ones. They are reminiscent of those featured on the old Apple extended keyboards from the kind of late 80s. As it were. They look brilliant, and the white and grey colouring looks excellent, as does the little red hello key that's a throwback to the original Macintosh from 1984. You can obviously get this thing in various different colours as well. The one here is made of a blue CNC machined aluminium, and so feels incredibly durable and weighty. But you have the choice of everything from aluminium to wooden cases. There's bamboo ones if you so wish, or just bog standard hard plastic ones as well, if you don't want to splash out on something like this. Also, it's worth noting you also have a choice of layouts as well. The Keychron Q1, for instance, like this one, is a 75%, which fundamentally gives you the same key layout as a 65%, but puts the arrow keys and small nav cluster in its own separate little section. But you can also get them in 60%, in 65, as well as in 10 keyless and full size. Or if you do want just the bare essentials, you can also get 40% keyboards as well. There is so much choice and versatility when it comes to building a keyboard that it's hard to even compare a custom one to a bog standard pre-built. Also, a key thing in considering whether to buy or build a keyboard is also fundamentally the time. building a keyboard isn't something you can do kind of necessarily very easily if you haven't done it before. The Keychron Q1 was actually my first time, but considering I picked a hot swappable board, it was just a case of getting enough switches so I had enough to fill the board, plus a few spares in case you bend the pins when you push them in. But building a keyboard can be a bit of a lengthy process. If you haven't got the time on your hands, then buying one is likely to be a slightly better bet, given it's fundamentally a case of picking which keyboard you want, which switch you'd like, ordering it, and it arrives at your door in a few days, and away you go. Whereas building one, you actually have to meticulously pick every part of the process, from the profile of the keycaps you want, to the switches you want, and whether you want it to be a more compact layout as opposed to full size, and even then whether you want it to work on Windows or Mac, whether you want it to be wireless or wired, and sometimes you may actually have to go as far as using a soldering iron and things to assemble it if you don't go for a hot swappable plastic circuit board like I have on the Q1. There's a lot to consider when building a mechanical keyboard, but fundamentally, if you've got the time on your hands, then I don't see why you wouldn't build one, to be brutally honest. So really, there I've given you reasons as to why you should or shouldn't build or buy a mechanical keyboard, but fundamentally this is all going to be down to personal preference, and it's going to be down to your budget and your time and what you're actually looking for in a keyboard. It's no use going for a pre-built one if you want the control over every single part of the process that building one will give you. But likewise, if you haven't necessarily got the budget to spend on building a keyboard, then buying one such as Logitech's MX Mechanical Mini, for instance, or the standard mechanical for that matter, is likely to be a better option. But really, it's all down to personal preference, as I say, but I'd say that building one, if you're more of an enthusiast, is going to be better than buying one. But it all depends also on the features you want as well. Some mechanical boards may not be able to offer you the two modes of connectivity and the multi-device functionality that bought ones will provide you with, alongside maybe a vaster suite of software you might get for buying one as opposed to building one. But fundamentally, the choice is yours. There are great options out there either way, but regardless, whatever you decide to go for, be sure to take care and choice in what keyboard you go for, and indeed what switch you pick, because it's all about fundamentally having a great typing experience and being able to use it for hours on end if you so wish. But all I've really got left to say is that if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Again, I appreciate that this is a slightly different piece of content, so if you like this more guide-based type stuff that we might start doing on this channel, then please drop a like on the video and leave a comment and tell us what you thought. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and indeed Instagram. Links should be appearing to those social medias on the screen right about now. And also, down in the description, if you're interested, there'll be links to the Untitled merchandise store that's hosted on Spring, where you can pick up all manner of Untitled related apparel and merchandise. Whether you're looking for t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirt, mugs, wall art, pint glasses, insulated water bottles, and everything in between, there'll be links to that store in the description. Everything is of really decent quality and Spring ship worldwide, which is rather handy indeed. And also, if you like any of the kit that we feature in these videos, be it this Keychron Q1 that I bought from the wonderful people over at the Keyboard Company, or any manner of keyboards, mice, multimedia controllers, laptops, and anything in between that we've reviewed on this channel over the last few years, then I'll leave links in the description to the respective videos, including this one, where you can of course pick all that kit up. So once again, thank you very much for watching.